Okay, hello YouTube, and hello to all our friends and regular subscribers. Today we're at the house, and Joe's going to do something we've done for many years, at least since the early 70s, and that is a dumbbell arm workout for boxers. So I don't know what Ollie's going to do today, but we'll at least get the arm work in here. I'll probably be moving the camera a little bit, so bear with us for that. And here goes whenever you're ready, son. I'll be talking during this video as well. So he's going to start in the standing position, so you'll be able to see what he does. And the key to this, and the reasons we were given to do this, is because you're mimicking a round, so we're always supersetting things. I don't remember the name superset given to this when you put the combination of these things together until maybe the mid or late 80s, but that doesn't mean that's not what they've always called them. I'm going to scoot across here. And I want to go ahead and say I hope everybody has a great weekend. Now, you might not be able to see the stool under Joe, but he's just sitting on the stool, and he's changing up how he's doing some of the curls. He's getting a better pump. He actually got on a machine, I guess maybe it was Monday, and he liked that machine, so he's mimicking that and trying to keep his elbows as still as possible. Said he got a great workout. You got to change things up a little bit, because if you're doing the same thing, you won't be able to. It's almost as if your muscles just have a value against the exercise that you're doing if you're doing the same things. You got to change things up a little bit, a resistance to it. And so we do change things up. And it's very important. You don't want to increase a lot of weight with this, because you'll build too much mass and you will lose speed. You will, if you're working with heavy weight, you'll have relatively no boxing power, and you will create muscular growth that will end up zapping all your oxygen in the ring. And back in the 70s, boxers were predominantly thinner but more muscular than they are today. I'm speaking probably pretty exclusive to the middleweight division on up, and on up through heavyweight. And the today I'm speaking exclusively for the heavyweight division here. With this, guys tend to be fatter, and this is not good. And this is why guys can barely, a lot of these elite guys can barely get 12 rounds out. A lot of these guys, Ali, Frazier, and types like that, and I could list off many other names, Jerry Quarry, there's a lot of guys I could mention. But a lot of those guys back in the 60s and 70s could have went 20 rounds. And there's a growing call to bring the championship fights in some of these organizations back to 15 rounds, and I hope they do. Although Joe's not looking to fight 3 rounds. It's better to have more rounds, and you get a better conditioned athlete that can fight better today they can fight better in yesteryear than they can in today's time. And if you don't believe me, just go back and look at a lot of these fights in the 50s or 60s, especially the 60s and 70s. And a lot of people have replied back and told me, yeah, but the defense wasn't as good back then as it is now. And I've combated those statements and believe sincerely that is false. And you can do some tricep work too if you want to. I believe that is false because all they're doing today is defense and waiting to set things up. And we've always done that, folks, but in yesteryear they would actually get in there and fight, and they'd fight from the opening bell to the closing bell at the end of the 15th round. And so what you're seeing today is not better defensive fighting, it's poor offensive fighting. There's a lot of fights today. You can look at these punch counts, and they're not very impressive. And boxing went through a stage like that in the after Joe Louis and before Sonny. Well, really before the Floyd Patterson, because Floyd would go at you too, where they're always waiting to set something up. So we've had these cycles in boxing. But I'm going to tell you something's fundamentally wrong with the heavyweight division when a sitting IBF champion, world champion today, quit because he got punched in the eye. And that an organization would sit and hand that fellow a belt and take one away from a unified, the undisputed champion to give to another guy is ridiculous as well. It's another reason why we don't need so many belt organizations. Now, Joe will do all these things or any lifting or calisthenics that he's going to do, and then at the end, he'll take a brief respite, and then he'll go on to bag work and other things. But we do this first a whole lot, or we do after a respite, or we'll do bag work first. So. But today, he hasn't even done any rope work, or he's just got loose and stretched a little bit and got into this. He has been fighting a cold now for a week that is just nagging and persistent and is not going away, and went from a real bad runny nose and all that to a sore throat, and now it's to chest congestion. But he's about licking it. I think it's all breaking up and coming out. So we don't stop unless we're really, really hurting. And I'll ask him. I'll ask Joe. I'll say, "You don't want to work today? Don't work." And unless he's really, really sick, he's no, I got to go through it because I don't want to be like the guy that got punched in the eye that's holding a world belt that got a little sick, and instead of going on through it and trying to make the fight like we always would up until very recent, maybe the past couple of years, you'd go ahead and you'd keep those fight commitments. Boxing's getting way too relaxed and soft, and we need to get back into you got to do it and you got to keep going. A lot of people got in the ring sick. Roberto Duran, people would have the flu. You know, you look at LeBron James, people, oh, he's the greatest. To heck with that. Michael Jordan was having to get intravenous fluids fed to him on the sideline and oxygen, and playing in games with a severe case of the flu. And boxers have got in the ring. They hadn't been healthy, but they've met the commitments that they've signed, and they've done them. And I believe if Usyk has the next mandatory for him should be Joe Parker, and not the other things, but Benoit guy, whatever his name is, the IBF champion. So we all got our opinions. I don't particularly not like the guy. I'm just Daniel Dubois. I just don't like the fact that he got punched in the eye and quit. And I don't like the fact that he gets a little sick. They exaggerate it, and that's exactly what they did, and canceled the defending the crown. The crown should be taken and given to the other guy. And when you sign a contract like that, they shouldn't pull in other fights and do it that way. They need to, if you forfeit, you either lose trying to get a championship or you lose the championship. Simple process. And it's happened before. And not much, because you force a fella to meet his commitments, and through force, the fella generally will meet his commitments. It's just got the sport of boxing is getting too soft. It's just getting too soft, guys. You got people running around here. You do a specific thing on a heavy bag or pad work or a reflex cobra bag, and because it ain't what they seen on YouTube or on a pre-fight show of a fighter do, people will be like, oh, that's wrong, and there are thousands of ways to do different things, and the lay people out here, they're unaware that they see a champion over here hitting the speed bag, and they say, oh, that's the only way to hit the speed bag, and it's not true at all. There's a variety of ways to utilize a speed bag. I'm just using that as an example. And where ignorance is abounding in this sport today as well. I mean, when you got champions that refuse to do jump rope work, and then they wonder why they can't make it 12 rounds or things like that, it's ridiculous. Just get the reps you can get out of it, son. And tomorrow we will be returning to the gym on Saturday morning, and Joe's going to do the normal, a lot of bag work, and he's going to do some leg work that we do, and some back work that we do. The style that Joe uses, which you don't really get to see a whole lot of it because I've refused to show everybody what we're doing. That's another thing. Everybody's trying to show off online. But the he does a peekaboo type style. I call it is kind of a in between Tyson, Patterson, Frazier, Tommy Morrison type thing, and it's what fits him and it's what he's comfortable with, and that's what we do. So, and we do what you guys would call a Soviet style or a Cuban type style here and there. And that's a backup thing that we use and we do because somebody may come in and figured out one of the ways to skin this cat. And in the event that happens, we'll change up what we're doing to try to skin the cat that's trying to skin him. And I'm not seeing a lot of intelligence in this sport. I'm not seeing it anywhere. I'm not seeing it out of these high dollar trainers. Teddy Atlas gets blasted a lot. People are like, oh, he's not a real trainer. And I'm like, come on, guys. One of the best trainers ever, and nobody's giving the guy no respect. And no wonder boxing is in a suffering state. It's like everything is devolving and not evolving. And we'll have a short or two up in a little while. We'll have something in some bag work or something that we'll put up as a short today as well. And we love what we're doing around here. Joe tremendously loves it. And again, he's only 16 years old if you're new to the channel. He's a hard worker, a great student, and is striving for perfection in everything he does. And it's not a lot of just handed to talent or anything going on around here. It's just a lot of hard work going on around here. And we try to inspire people that whoever you are, if you're what we used to call a 98-pound weakling, if you want to change that, I'm here to tell you, you can change that. If you're not a good student, maybe you have some learning disabilities or something that maybe you can't get past, but if you're not a good student, you can change that, improve your effort and your motivation, and you can change all these things. So you can see he's not using a lot of weight here. I think he started out with 20 pounds on each dumbbell. Now he's down to 5 pounds. He's not pyramiding up, but he's going down, and we're doing that because we don't want to build too much mass, but we do want to improve strength and stamina. And there are a lot of different camps of thought on this, And a lot of people, they won't even let you do dumbbell work. They say, don't do it. They don't believe in it. And they're typically the more wiry fighters. And there was a school of camps on that. And then Mike Tyson come through and proved it wrong. So, and sometimes you got, when that camp started, new camps of thought or going back to older school come in and prove a generation that they're in wrong. So everything is going in progress. There is no one way to do. There are specific ways to do things, but there is no one way to do things. And I hope that makes sense to you. There's a specific way to do things and no specific way to do things. And which means there's many different schools of thought into all of sport, basically. But especially in boxing. So nothing's worse than the fellow that comes along and says, no, you're doing all this wrong. No, you can't do this. And let me tell you something, in the early 80s when people were picking up on the second, I call it the second Cus D'Amato peekaboo stylistics, we were all looking at that and we were saying, this is crazy as hell. And look what happened there. So people were looking at Jack Dempsey. Oh, he's going to gas himself out. He's too aggressive. He's not thinking enough. And look at what he did. People were saying a lot of bad things about Rocky Marciano. People were telling Larry Holmes, oh, you don't have a right hand. You ain't never going to make it in this business. You need to get in the gym and be constantly doing squats. You got toothpick legs. You're never going to make it in this business. And you can't rely on that jab. And look at what Larry Holmes did. And let me tell you, if you don't know who these people are that I've just mentioned, you are inadequate in the sport of boxing. Very inadequate. So you got an ignorance going on with you, and it's okay to be ignorant in things, but you got to go learn, because if you don't know where you've been or where it's been, you'll never know where you're going or where it's going to take you. So, and it's like arguing with walls a lot in this world today. I'm an old man, so I don't talk 95 miles an hour, and I get things like, oh, you talk too slow. Then you people that are that impatient and that crazy, I tell these people all the time, you need to go somewhere else because we don't want you here. Your place is being a keyboard warrior behind a computer monitor. It's the only place that you're going to be a warrior at, is where you're anonymous and you're not known, and you don't have to back up what you write or what you say. And everything you do or say is coming from a distance. And those types of people we just really don't want here. We're not going on other people's channels and offending their fighters or we group everything together. I'm just trying to tell everybody in general that boxing today is awful. And you can't put people in an assembly line like a karate school and have everybody line up doing the same thing constantly and that's all you're doing, and expect to produce champions. You're just not going to do it. So I see a lot of that today. I never saw that in the 60s, 70s, or 80s. I never saw that in no gym. I was out in the 90s, and but I don't know if it was going on then or not. But that's just something I picked up and started seeing in the 2010s. You started, everybody was wanting to do MMA, and then people that didn't want to do MMA, they started opening some more boxing gyms, and I start looking, and I'm like, what the hell are they doing? It looks like the same thing that when I was taking Taekwondo 45 years ago. Everybody'd get in a line, and they'd do the same hits or kicks, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I'm just telling you, you're not going to produce world champions off of that. That's the only thing I'm saying. So don't get offended, and don't try to read something into something I'm not saying. You got 2 on one side and 1 on one side. You good with that? All right. Now he's loading up with a little weight here. And Joe's pretty strong, and he's very strong at 16. Joe can military press 180 pounds, folks. He can max out, and that's just something. I never let him sit down and bench and max out on any of that stuff, but on the military presses and on some squats I have. But he's very strong. A 16-year-old boy can military press 180 pounds is something else. It's kind of phenomenal, and especially for somebody that's into boxing. And so he's got a lot of strength to him, but we don't lift heavy. It's not something that's normal to what we do, unless he is doing some military presses or some squats. And generally, if he's got a machine available, he does the press up squat machine. I don't even know what that machine's called, where he can lay on his back and push the weight up. He'll lift heavy there. If doesn't have a machine available, he'll do some squats, but mainly the squats he does is Mike Tyson squats, where he's putting down a deck of cards and picking up a deck of cards and using his body weight. So, but we're working on building some strength and stamina, and we have been for quite a while, but we'll work out of that. Hopefully we're 2 days of work, we're doing some strength work and then stopping it. So we love you. We hope everybody has a good weekend. Joe's about done with this. I'll either have some bag work attached to this video. If I don't, much love to you. And I want to say what in this like we normally do. Christ is our King, our Lord, and our Savior up in here. And we hope he is up in where you're at. And we hope everybody has a great weekend.